So Jay has another question here. Has the type of questions and gardeners changed since you started YouTube years ago?
I would say overall it hasn't, and it's a little bit surprising. My most popular video with about 4.5 million views is
Mhm.
on how to fill a raised bed. And when I first made that video 5 years ago, I thought it was such an easy, simple topic that I wasn't going to do the video, but I was getting some questions about that. So it's like, I'll go ahead and make this video. And of
Mhm.
course, it's become huge. I still get the same questions now from that video that I did 5 years ago. And that holds true. I try to respond to every question I see if it's appropriate on all my videos. I spend time every day responding to comments and questions to my videos, and the questions are generally the same. Now
Mhm.
the level, because I have such a big audience now, the level of some of the questions has been elevated. So, Jay probably sees this from my live stream as well, that people who have been watching my videos in particular for a number of years now are asking a different kind of question because they have that foundational information to work from. But for people who are not the followers of my videos, the new people, it's still the same basic questions that I get every year and that I've been getting for over a decade now.
Well, actually, to me, that actually gives me hope, Scott, because that means there's more new
Yeah.
people coming out and starting. And this journey is so amazing once you take those first steps and get excited about it. It doesn't matter if you're starting because you have health issues and,
Hmm.
that somebody said, oh, you need to change your diet. It doesn't matter because the more people grow in the methodology that you teach, Scott, the more biology is being put into our soil structures, which is helping our entire planet to be healthy and happy as well.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. That's exactly the way I look at it. Is I can't change the whole planet, but if I can influence one person to change their backyard, and suddenly they have the opportunity to influence one person, and then that person has the influence to change a person, and that's how we change the planet. That's how we change the
Mhm.
biology in our world, is just one person at a time. And when like I said, when I started the channel, I was just hoping to help one person, and I now know that I have helped millions of people because they've told me. I every year I get hundreds or thousands of comments from people that say, I've been watching your videos for years and I have learned so much. I've had my best garden ever. And I've told everybody in my church to watch your videos, or I've told everybody in my book club to watch your videos. And so that's how it spreads, is the good information that works, and you can actually tell your friends and neighbors and family that you tried this thing and it works. That excitement, like that you're talking about from that individual, now is so hard to avoid with the people around them. That's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. And I get comments from people like that. I wasn't a gardener, I never planned to garden, but my wife had so much fun with it, I thought I would give it a try, and now she can't get me out of the garden, that type of thing.
Well, and a lot of people, it's not the gardening for vegetables; it's the gardening for the roses, for
Yeah.
gardenias, etc. It's that love. Once you get into it and you start to really love it and get in connection, it takes you to a whole different level. And that's one of the things that we talk about, on our channel, is the energetic side as well, that really can touch a person's essence to be in the garden. And you laugh, you smile, and yeah, you're right, it's like I told two friends, they told two friends. That excitement builds and grows, and it just leads people, because people go, well, why are you so happy? Go, you got to check out my garden. You got to
That's
taste
right.
this tomato. And
That's right.
people go, why are you so excited? Then all of a sudden they taste that and they go, wow, this is good.
Yeah. And so much of our focus, because it's so easy to focus on our vegetable gardens and our fruit gardens. But you touched on it as well. Just it can be any type of gardening. I love talking to different groups, and here in Colorado Springs, where I'm from, I've given a couple different talks to the Iris Society, and it's a group of gardeners, and their whole world is growing irises.
Yeah.
And some of those gardeners don't even have a vegetable garden, but they have that same enthusiasm, they have that same excitement about growing irises. And I've talked to the Rose Society, and it's the same kind of thing where you have these gardeners who have been gardening for decades trying to grow the perfect rose. And that's their whole world is roses. I have a master gardener friend who is an expert on perennial plants and native plants. She's amazing. She knows all the botanical names, all the Latin, and she can't grow a tomato. So she doesn't even try. I mean, she has so
Really?
much difficulty in her vegetable garden, but she can
Mhm.
grow anything else. And so that's what she focuses on, is growing the shrubs and the bushes and the trees and the grasses and the flowers, because she likes it, she's good at it, and she can teach others about it, which is a
Mhm.
great way to learn more about gardening, is to teach other people about gardening, even if it's just the people in your household.
Well, and I know you started out, a school garden and teaching the kids about gardening. And, you know, I'm hoping that they took that into their cafeteria,
Well, yeah.
you know, and use that to feed the kids, because health and nutrition is so important, especially, for the younger kids. It's amazing that you were able to touch all those children's lives and lead them down a path they probably would have never found otherwise.
Well, yeah, and it's so rewarding. The school I was at was in what we now call a food desert. That there
Mhm.
were no sources of good healthy food. There were no supermarkets. There were a few fast food restaurants, and so the kids basically just ate frozen meals and fast food. And now we're out in the garden, and one of my most enjoyable memories was of a day when we were harvesting carrots. So that the students would sow the seeds, they would do the transplants, they would take care of the plants. Now, it wasn't on a daily basis because it was still a school and they couldn't
Mhm.
do it during the summer. So I did the bulk of it along with a group of volunteers. But during the school year, when they could, they were out as often as we could get them out. And so we were harvesting carrots in that particular day. And there were these two girls, about 12 years old, harvesting carrots. And one of the rules in the garden was if you harvest it, you can eat it. And so they had each pulled a carrot, and they're each holding a carrot in their hand. And one girl is looking at the other and says, I didn't know carrots came out of the ground. And the other one said, I know. And I hate carrots. And then she takes a big bite and says, but I'll eat this all day long. And that was it. That these are kids that they don't know where their food comes from. The
Mhm.
food they do eat is been so processed that it doesn't taste at all like what we can grow. And when they're given that opportunity, it literally changes their lives, because they now know that there's another world out there.
Mhm.
And I had a couple students. One student in particular was always truant, and they were ready to just give up on him completely.